Very good evening. You're watching India Today on social media. I'm going to bring you the roundup of the day's news. Let me start with the Lakhimpur chaos that's currently ensuing. We all know that what happened with the farmers. Just on Sunday, about 8 farmers succumbed to the violence in Lakhimpur. 4 of them were mowed down by an SUV who the farmers allege belonged to Union Minister for Home. Ashish Mishra, in fact his son Ashish Mishra, the Union Minister's name is Ajay Mishra Teni, who is the Minister of State for Home. His son has been accused of mowing down farmers, killing 4 of them, and the other 4 succumbed in the violence that ensued right after that rampage. So here we're looking at an FIR that's been filed on the Union Minister's son, and so far there's been no arrests. And while that happens on one end, while the UP police hesitant to arrest Ashish Mishra, you have a lot of the opposition leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, who were not allowed. Initially, they were not allowed to even visit Lakhimpur because they believed that the Gandhis going there would just create a lot more tension in that area, which is already highly sensitive, and there's a Section 144 that's been imposed where you can't have people in large gatherings there. So despite all of that, you have the Gandhis pushing their luck. Of course, eventually the UP government did succumb to the demands put forth by the opposition and finally allowed the Gandhis to visit Lakhimpur and visit the families of victims. But there were set protocols. The UP government said, the Home Department in fact gave permission, said that you can go, but you please hop on to our official escort car, the police convoy. Do not use your private vehicles, because they wanted to avoid any tension. So Rahul Gandhi insisted. He sat in dharna right as he reached Lucknow. He said he's not going to leave until he's allowed to go in his own car. He said, what kind of permission is this, half-hearted? When you're not allowing me to take my own car, then what is the point? How is it that I'm free to go? Clearly you're trying to somehow control me by not allowing me to use my own car. And he made quite a scene. Finally he was allowed to go with a few others. Now there were a few others as well, including Chief Minister of Punjab, Channi, as well as Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, who accompanied Rahul Gandhi to Lakhimpur. So currently they're at Lakhimpur meeting with the victims' families, and it's really heart-wrenching to see many families attached with the 8 victims who died. They in fact, some of them said they saw, a 15-year-old boy saw his father being crushed under that SUV. He says he saw his father die right in front of him. A father of the local journalist who passed away in the ruckus, he said that he just got a call from the police at 3 a.m. or sometime in the wee hours of the morning saying that there's an unidentified body, come identify him. He went to see his father had succumbed. Another was a really young, around 19-20-year-old boy a farmer himself who was protesting. He got crushed under the wheels, and he said that he's fine. He called his father saying, come fast, please come see me fast to the hospital. He said he's fine. All along the way he spoke to his father a couple of times saying he's fine, but when the father reached the hospital, he found his son had died. It's just really heartbreaking to see these stories coming to fore. And what's really shocking is that so far there is no arrest to this case. The UP police is hesitant on arresting Ashish Mishra, who's the Union Minister's son. In fact, there are some serious sections that have been slapped on Ashish Mishra as well, if I can take you through. There's a stringent section of section 302, which deals with murder. 302, which is been slapped for attempt to murder, on those lines that Ashish Mishra has been slapped with. The FIR also says that an SUV was seen mowing down protesters, and it was speeding, and that car allegedly belonged to the minister's son. The FIR also states that Ashish Mishra, alias Mono, allegedly opened fire and killed a farmer named Gurvinder on the spot. This is what the FIR says. Of course, the FIR was filed based on the statements of all the farmers who went collectively to file this police complaint. Then furthermore, you have the postmortem report. Well, the postmortem was conducted. The postmortem reveals that or says that there was no gunshot or gun injury on Gurvinder. But the family of Gurvinder says, who was one of the farmer who died, according to the FIR, it says that Gurvinder was shot with a gun by Ashish Mishra, but then the postmortem says that there is no bullet injury at all. So the family accuses this of a cover-up by the police and investigative agencies. So nonetheless, the Uttar Pradesh police and the government has assured that they will get to the bottom of this. Yogi Adityanath has promised that he will ensure that the guilty is punished. But whatever said and done, as much as there's so much heat building up by the opposition party, it appears that the UP police have not made an arrest in this case to really settle the kind of tension. So it's clear and no doubt why the farmers are so agitated and upset that so far 8 farmers have been killed, 8 people have been killed, 4 of them farmers, protesting farmers, 1 local journalist and 2, 3 others, yet no arrest has happened. While you have Ashish Mishra, who is the son of the union minister, claiming that they were not farmers. He wasn't present at the spot. He was there at another akhada where there was a kushti fight going on. He was present at that event. And the father, union minister Ajay Mishra Teni, says, if any proof arises of my son being involved in that incident or of him being at that spot of that violence, then I will resign from the post. So some really heavy statements coming in, but really no conclusion to this case. God knows really how the police is going to ensure that justice is brought to book. Well, that said, Priyanka Gandhi, who was under house arrest, she's also now finally not house arrest. She was in fact detained, and she's also now being allowed to meet with the victims' families in Lakhimpur. So all eyes currently, all cameras, focus is on Lakhimpur now. Hopefully, violence does not, tensions do not arise there after the Gandhis visit that spot, because it's known the moment the area is highly sensitive, you have the opposition or anybody who you think has is a popular face or has some clout. You can only imagine how people come together in large numbers and disturb peace in that area, which would have come about after much struggle. So let's hope that this situation is doused at the earliest. Let me cut across to Aryan Khan, Shah Rukh Khan's son, currently, who's in custody he's in NCB's custody. He's going to be in custody until tomorrow. Whether his custody will be extended or not, it depends on what the courts observe and whether the NCB asks for an extension. Now, the NCB is, of course, has made some sensational charges, saying that Aryan Khan, of course, has and his friends were hoarding. They had drugs on them. They had possessed quite an amount. They have enough evidence to show their WhatsApp chats dealing with some peddlers. And they could have been history long before that cruise ride or that cruise party, that they were actually involved in drugs and purchase and sale. They have made that allegation, but not to show exactly how they've come to that accusation there. But friends of Aryan Khan, the Aryan Khan's friends, in fact, have actually been caught hoarding drugs. Like, in fact, one of his friend. Had drugs placed in his shoes. That was the accusation there. But now how the NCB is really going to go into detail of this racket, one wonders. But whilst that said, the organizers of the party, Namaskre, who are the event organizers, they've finally been called in. Remember, there was a lot of talk on how the organizers were allowed to carry forward with that party, go around all the way in that cruise and come back. Even though Aryan Khan was arrested, his friends were arrested, they were going through quite a lot of police and media scrutiny as well. While there was so much focus on that episode, you had that cruise ship party away all the way to the high seas in the Arabian seas and comes back joyfully with the NCB again cracking down on that cruise and finding enough and more drugs once again. So it's just very shocking and surprising that despite them having cracked down initially on a bunch of them and arrested them for consuming and keeping drugs, they actually allowed that party to take place, and then once it comes back, they again raid that cruise and they find a lot more. So finally, the Namaskre event organizers, 4 of them we believe have been called in, and 1 of them have been arrested as well. A couple of them have been arrested. So it remains to be seen what they really find out of the organizers, and if they really had permission to conduct that party, that remains to be seen. Now, the arrest of Shah Rukh Khan's son, of course, has raised a lot of political, tug of war here, with the NCP has now jumped in and made some sensational charges that the BJP is behind the cruise raid and behind Aryan Khan's arrest. So, NCP has cast a doubt on the Narcotics Control Bureau and its credibility, saying that NCB is basically acting on the orders of the BJP, saying that when Aryan Khan was arrested, there was a BJP worker who was standing right behind and all the way was accompanying the NCB sleuths until the NCB office, and etc. So he was visible right there. So NCP is questioning as to why the NCB was entertaining a private individual who belongs to the BJP as a party worker while they were carrying arrests of Imran Khans and a few others in this whole drug bust. So that BJP workers responded saying, no, I just found out that I had a tip off that there was a drug party going to happen there, and I tipped off the NCB, so they came to raid it, and I just went there just to see how this entire event unfolds. So, well, not a justified answer, but nonetheless here the NCP now calling for a high-level inquiry that, as he alleges, collusion between the NCB and the BJP. Alright, that's it. You have Shah Rukh Khan's son, 4th day of custody. He's going to be on till 7th of October. Personal phones, chats, all of them being scrutinized. His phones is away with the NCB. They've seized his phones, even the friends' phones. So they're looking at any involvement with any drug peddlers, and NCB has now finally cracked down on the organizers. Like I said, one of the organizers also includes Namaskre's additional director Gopal G. Anand. There are a few more names who have been arrested in this case, but that we'll know only in a little while. On a final note, there was a very tragic incident in Kashmir today, while 3 civilians were murdered by terrorists. You had Makhan Lal Bindru, a 68-year-old pharmacist who was sitting inside his shop, and he was gunned down point blank by the terrorists. He's a Kashmiri Pandit. Along with him, there were two others who passed away, unfortunately. This has led to a lot of backlash by Kashmiri Pandits who've come forward and condemned civilians' deaths. In fact, to this terror attack, the Pakistan-backed terror group called the Resistance Front, an affiliate of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, have claimed credit for this cowardly act. So you saw the daughter of Bindru, Makhan Lal Bindru, who came out, gave very emotional tribute to her father, saying you can kill him, but you cannot kill his spirit. So she stands really strong and spoke some very strong words, and it was really heart-wrenching to see that. And 2 other civilians were also gunned down, and it appears one was a Pani Puri seller and the other was just a civilian around the corner who was passing by. So this was the details coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, which Srinagar particularly, where the cops are currently investigating on who these terrorists are. Even though those terror groups have taken responsibility, they still have to get down to the bottom of who was it really. On that note, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.